Let's now turn our attention to crafting questions and scenarios for the interviews. If you've ever searched for interview questions on the internet, you'll know that the pool to draw from is nearly limitless. Expanding further, if it's any kind of question, period, I'm sure someone has asked it in a job interview. Why is the sky blue? What kind of tree would you be? Why are manhole covers round? These could all be valid questions for certain jobs. Why is the sky blue? Meteorologist. What kind of tree would you be? Forestry preservation. Why are manhole covers round? Road repair and maintenance. But they're not appropriate for 99.9% of jobs out there. Why? Because the answers likely don't offer meaningful data to help determine if someone has the knowledge, skills, and abilities required to do the job you're hiring for. So go back to your list of KSAs and let that be your guide. Does someone need to have a keen attention to detail because they're entering bank account numbers for routing money? Or the ability to explain the answer to the same question 100 times in a day like it's the first because they're providing high-quality customer service? Or does someone need to be comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty because they're the project manager building a software application for a brand new service that hasn't been created yet? Figure out what question or scenario will help you gain meaningful information and insight from the answer. One of the best ways that I've found to align questions to KSAs is by using hypothetical questions as opposed to behavioral questions. Behavioral questions ask candidates to describe prior achievements and match those to what's required in the current job. These are the tell me about a time variety of questions. Hypothetical questions, on the other hand, present a job-related hypothetical situation. What would you do if? I find hypothetical questions much easier to create because they're not really hypothetical at all. We can simply pull from the real-life examples experienced by people currently or previously in the role. I tend to favor hypothetical questions with no right or no best answer. This speaks to a lot of the work many roles need to perform. The answer isn't simply A or B, it depends. Asking, what would you do questions allows you to see how candidates work through the answer, what assumptions they hold, how far they would go before asking for help, or did they just say, I don't know, and give up right out of the gate. All of this doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't ask behavioral questions. There might be instances where people need to be able to explain past situational performance and how they behaved when they encountered a specific situation. Just be careful with how and when you use them, that they don't inject additional bias into the hiring process. You probably have some standard or at least tell me about a time when questions that you rely on or that have been used recently. Take a minute to rewrite one or two and start to flex your KSA questioning muscles.